Mula sa kabisera ng Inglaterra, sa puso ng Britanya, London, UK. London, UK. Ito ang Channel Philippines Network, Pinoy Radio, UK. Pinoy Radio, UK. Sumasayang papawid, 24 oras. 24 oras. Buong linggo. Sa www.pinoyradiouk.com. Ang mga pinakapaborito mga awitin, mga pinakaabangang programa, at mga sariwang balita at impormasyon mula at para sa mga kababayang Pilipino sa UK at sa buong mundo. Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK.
Okay, happy Tuesday. Magandang hapon ho sa inyong lahat. Welcome ho sa ating program. Another week ho ngayon, no? Another week, new week. Last week of the month yata, ano ba? 23, 24, 25, 6, and 7. Teka muna, kailan bang, ilan bang, direct ano nga yung, yung kalendary na 24 ngayon plus no? Kailan ba, sa ilalim? Pakitignan ko lang kung anong date natin. Sige, anyway, hindi ko kabisado. Parang, hindi, may isa pa, may another Tuesday pa, penultimate Tuesday of the month natin, no, the second to the last note. May 31st pa tayo pala. But anyway, it feels like end of the month. Pero hindi, next week, holiday yata yan, di ba? Pagka bank holiday weekend yon, tuloy-tuloy. So, more or less, ito na yung pinakahuling week natin, no, for April. Although next week, meron pang mga ilang araw. But anyway, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited, syempre. Pagka Tuesday natin nakakasama yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, no? Dahil dun sa yung mga nanonood for the first time dito, good afternoon muna, good evening, good morning, saan mang bahagi ho kayo ng mundo nanonood ho sa atin, no? Sa ating mga kababayan sa United Kingdom, it's good afternoon or good evening dahil alas 6 na ho. Sa ating mga kababayan sa buong Europa, magandang gabi. Sa Pilipinas, good evening, good madaling araw, no? Tama ba yan? At syempre, sa Amerika, maaga pa ron. 5 hours ang time difference natin ng London sa New York and 8 hours sa California. So, araw na araw dun sa Amerika ngayon. Kung alas 6 ngayon, alauna ho dyan sa New York at alas 10 ng umaga dyan sa California. California, sa Vancouver, Canada, no? Seattle, Washington. So, bandang alas 10 ng umaga sa area na yan. So, good evening ho. No? Ako yung natutuwa. Siyempre, excited ako. Makakasama na natin yung ating Brains and Beauty, no? Na ating kasamang legal advice expert, no? Dito sa batas, dito sa United Kingdom. Siyempre, tawagin ko na. Pakilala na natin yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, the one and only Brains and Beauty. At may balita ako sa July, birthday ko sa July, iikot to sa northern part yata ng Spain. Let's say hello, good afternoon or good evening. Kasi good afternoon, maaraw pa Pero good evening sa ating pinakamamahal na abogada, walang iba kundi yung ating managing partner na DV Solicitors, si Attorney DANNA QUINTO. Attorney, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Nasan man kayo sa mundo, o UK man yan, Europe or Pilipinas or anywhere else. Tuloy po kayo. Welcome back sa ating remote social bubble, but not quite remote kasi medyo madami na tayong ina-arrange na mga kung ano-anong kitaan But yeah, it's a good day. very bright still. 15 degrees dito sa amin, Mr. Laragan.
15 degrees ba sa'yo? Teka
Summer
muna.
na, summer na.
Oo nga. Ano ba sa atin? Direk, pakita mo nga. May pinakita si Direk sa akin. Ano ba yan? 15 degrees. Tama ka, attorney. Cloudy, no? But this morning, ito...
kami ni Direk gaga ng show eh.
Okay. Si Direk, kabisado na yung mga ano natin, mga temperature and everything, no? Tama ka. This morning, it was kinda rainy sa amin dito sa area ng Southwest London, no? Maulan-ulan siya. So,
The same here
ngayon,
Medyo,
maaraw.
Yeah.
Yes. Oy, attorney, kumustahin lang kita dahil nung mga nakaraan puro physical fitness ka. So, how was it? Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ba yung ating physical fitness? In preparation for your, hindi ko masyadong dinetalye yung trip mo, ha? Ikaw na magdidetalye niya, no? More or less. Sa ano ka, di ba? Northern Spain, tama ba? Would you like to tell us kung saan yan?
Yes, sa mga it's been a long time dream of mine na ang dream ko talaga mapuno yung pilgrimage na to. It's a well-known pilgrimage in Spain. It's called the Santiago de Compostela. So mga taga Spain dyan, hello sa mga taga Northern Spain. Yung original po 800 kilometers pero wala po akong time to walk all of that in one go, and normally that would take about 30 to 40 days. So I'm gonna do it in sections. So I'm doing a section of it, one week or 5 days actually. About 117 kilometers. I'll be walking all of that in 5 or 6 days.
Teka muna, pakita ka natin kay Direk. Direk, hanapin mo nga, baka pwede mo ba ma-flash ang Santiago de Compostela?
Yes,
maghanap ka nga lang lugar lang
Camino
yan.
de Santiago, yun yung pangalan ng pilgrimage. Camino de Santiago.
Pilgrimage talaga yan, attorney.
It is. Buen Camino sa lahat ng nagpipilgrimage. This is a holy year. And people do it some for religious reasons, some for, just experience it. So, Buen Camino.
Sabi ko, para akong shadow na boss sa likod lang, no? Buen Camino ba? Buen Camino?
Yeah, have a good Camino ata. Yun ang
good kasi Bien Camino.
Yun ang greetings mo sa daan, Buen Camino.
Buen Camino. Pero apelido yan. Meron kaming teacher sa Notre, no? First year advisor namin, si Miss Buen Camino. So, yung pala, no? Di ba?
Buen Camino, ano? Di ba may artista ata si someone Buen Camino? Parang may...
hindi ko kabisado. Pero may teacher kami noon na champion, arts teacher namin first year. Pero she won in a contest, parang Smiling Jesus Christ. And she was featured yung painting niya as a cover. Hindi ko alam kung panorama basta sa Pilipinas. So, si Miss Buen Camino. Kaya sa Notre.
Miss Buen Camino. Hello, Miss Buen Camino.
Hello din kay Ma'am Carsola. Dahil pagka Notre kagad, nagkaano sa atin Notre kagad. Si Cora. So, okay. So, sa Buen Camino, sa Camino de Santiago de Compostela. Tama, di ba?
Yeah, so Buen Camino. So that's the Santiago de Compostela. So it's a well-known Camino Frances. Basta ang ending is Santiago de Compostela.
Teka muna. You mentioned 800 kilometers or 800 miles?
Kilometers yung original.
Okay. So kasi from ano ba conversion ng 800 kilometers into miles? Kasi from here to Scotland 600 miles because I was checking on ano ba yung mga distances. So, Santiago de Compostela, direct. Tingnan mo nga, Santiago de Compostela. Santiago de Compostela. Baka masakali makakuha ng picture. City in Spain. Anyway, pakita natin city in Spain. But,
that's the city.
That's just a city. Teka muna, wag mo na direct. Kunin natin yung Buen Camino ba?
Camino de Santiago.
Camino, lagyan mo ng Camino. Wag mo ng Camino de Santiago. Camino de Santiago routes. May mga ruta pala yan.
But yung big one is called the Frances. How many miles?
Okay. Maano pala. Teka muna, Santiago de Compostela. Ito, mahaba to. Sa Spain or Zamora. Yan, pwede na, direct. Sige, kunin mo yan. Muna yan, pwede lang mabigyan lang natin ng parang idea yung mga tao. Kasi, di ba, we're traveling. Maski yung mga hindi nasa Europe, no? it gives you an idea kung saan tong sa mapa ng Spain. Ang Spain no, nakadikit yata yan sa Portugal, no? Sa left-hand side niya, Portugal. Okay, ito na yan. Ito, Santiago de Compostela. Ano yung pinagmulan niyon? Sabi, binabanggit ako San Sebastian sa'yo kanina, attorney. Yan sa North, Santander. Yan ba yung ruta? Ano ba yan? Bakit may ganyan?
Madami pong ruta. Yung isa sa pinaka-popular na ruta is Camino Frances, which starts from Saint John Pied de Port, which is, I don't know if I pronounced that properly, which is the border ng France. And that goes through 790 or about 800 kilometers, 490 miles. So part lang po nun yung gagawin ko kasi wala po akong whole month to walk.
Parang napunta na ako ng Saragossa, attorney. Saragossa, nadaanan ko yan. Driving from Madrid going to Barcelona. Nag-drive ako. Pero itong Porto, yung nakikita mo sa ilalim ng Porto, ano na Portugal na yan eh.
Yeah, there's Portugal. May ruta din po dyan, may Camino. Lahat po ng ending is Santiago de Compostela. So, merong Portugal Way, may Frances Way. Yung gagawin ko is Camino, the French Way. So, yun yung ruta. But, isa siya sa pinaka-popular.
What do you mean French? Sa French, magagaling ka. Yung French Way? Ganun?
Yeah, yung start nun is, as I've said, Saint John Pied de Port, which is yung border ng France. So, yeah.
Doon ka. So, you will be starting from the Basque Country?
I'm not, pero yung ruta, yung original na
okay. You're not. Saan ka? Saan ka magsisimula?
Sarria. I'm starting from Sarria.
Sarria. S-A-R-I-A. Sarria.
S-A-R-R-I-A.
Sarria. Direct, paki-type mo nga yung S-A-R-R-I-A. Tignan natin kung nasan yan. S-A-R-R-A-I-A. Hanapin mo yun. S-A-R-R-I-A. Sarria. Sarria or Sarria. Tignan mo nga kung saan yung Sarria na yan. Pero asa na picture dyan? Mamili tayo. Hindi natin alam kung anong picture dyan. Yung lugar lang, sa mapa din. Nasa ba ang Sarria? Santiago to Camino. Yun, tama. Santiago to Camino. Yan. Meron ako nakita. Santiago to Camino. Sarria pala. Sorry, Sarria to Camino. May bigla lumabas Bigla kanina. No, Sarria to Camino. Sarria muna. Simula mo sa Sarria. Sarria to Camino. Nung Sarria, bigla may lumabas Yan, Santiago Camino, yan.
Yeah, to Santiago Camino. That's it.
Yan ang ruta. Ayan, okay, sige. Labas mo yan. Yan. Sige, labas mo yan. Sige, labas mo ito. Lagas mo ito pangalawa. Yan, sige. Labas natin yan. Sige. Ayan, tignan natin direct. Para malaman natin, may idea tayo, no? Which is, kasi sabi mo, sa Sarria ka magmumula. Sabi mo, di ba? Ito sabi mo, no? Ayan, tignan ito. Okay. Kasi ako, gala ako sa Spain, except the north part, no? So, Sarria will be from... Ano yan? Teka muna, Nasaan
ba yan?
Asa ba yan? Sarria yun.
Galicia. Malapit na ito sa Galicia.
So, saan ang airport mo? Sige, direct, hindi bali. Okay na. Ibalik mo na sa amin. So, saan ka magbumula ng airport, attorney?
Santiago pa rin po. So, because that's the nearest and easiest. So, I go to Santiago, and then I travel all the way to Sarria, and then I'll start walking.
So in effect, you're going to the destination first, and then you walk back. Parang ganun, you travel back to Sarria.
Magte-train ako.
Magte-train ka? Okay, magte-train ka.
Because I need may mga stamps so I can get the certificate at the end.
Wow.
Nagawa ko yung Camino na yun. It's quite
curious lang, attorney. Curious lang. How did you find out about this? How did you learn about this? And why did you choose this? How did this come into reality? Yung plan and the ideas and everything. Book na ba? Nakabook na?
Nakabook na.
Okay, so paano? Anong kwento? Bakit? Of all, so many things in your life, or so many places to travel to, why this particular place in July, na biglang naging center of your plans and attention for July?
Right, so this one, I've known of this for 10 years now. So I think I came across it 10 years ago, and there's actually a movie about it. It's called The Way. So yun yung movie, si Martin Sheen, yung bida doon, and it tells about the pilgrimage. So he was not supposed to be a pilgrim. Spoiler alert, bigyan ko kayo ng summary. He wasn't supposed to be the pilgrim. Yung anak niya yung pilgrim. A lot of people, this is yung pilgrimage na to, walking pilgrimage na to. This has been on for thousands of years. People used to do this purely for religious reason, but now, syempre, madami na kanya-kanya ng rason. Lots of pilgrim, if you also watch the movie, and as well as documentaries, they always say that it's such a reflection. It's almost like a meditative walk. Kasi you leave everything behind. All you have is a backpack, and you walk from one town to another. And yung traditional way is you sometimes you stay in churches or albergues or mga parang hindi siya mga sort of like accommodation that really provides for pilgrims for many thousands of years. Although I'm doing a
Teka muna, thousands of years. So
this is
yun yung theme.
Yung mga accommodation, hindi na.
Pero this pilgrimage has been on for thousands of years. And when you, by way of a movie, the way by Martin Sheen, sabi mo hindi siya original pilgrim na nagplano, kundi anak niya. So when did you watch this, and bakit, kunyari, what did you watch this 10 years? 10 years ago nga ba, sabi mo?
Yep.
How many years ago? 12 years?
10 years ago. I'm just checking 9th century.
Saan mo nakita yan? Saan mo napanood yan? Saan ka? You were still a student then? So you're fascinated with it, and it's been at the back of your mind all these years?
Yeah, I've always, I love traveling. I love endurance events. So as long as I can remember, siguro nung I was getting out of law school, I was also, just like any young person, you wonder about ano yung nasa mundo. And I read. I like reading. I like watching mga documentaries. And I'm fascinated with endurance activities like this na may element ng meditation, na may element na self-awareness. It's not just running a marathon, but the reality of it is a lot of people who went through it has managed to really simplify their life. Because kung titingnan mo, katulad ng mountains, it's really simplifying yung buhay mo kung ano lang yung essential sa'yo. Kasi dala mo yun sa backpack mo. Essentially, for the whole of that pilgrimage. Although ako, kaya ko lang ngayon is 1 week.
Endurance with meaning, parang ganyan, no? You're going there, so double purpose. You wanna build on your endurance, stamina, test it because you've done a bit of preparation, and also make it meaningful yung lakad mo, yung endurance or whatever na activity mo, no? So good. Well, baka
yeah, I think when you, and especially siguro hindi lang naman sa industriya namin, but in a lot of industry, you do need a bit of time with yourself, a bit of time to reflect on things. And talagang mapapa-reflect ako maglalakad ka lang.
Wow.
Wala kang gagawin.
Ito ba ginawa mo to? Ano ba to? What is this, attorney?
I walked for a couple of hours.
Wow. Couple of
I don't
hours?
mind walking for long hours. I actually like really long walks. But that's part of the preparation.
Galing ni Direk, ha? Meron pa nga. Pero, teka muna, when you say 2 hours, is it 1 hour going and 1 hour coming back?
Yeah, 1 hour. It's a circuit. 1 hour going, 1 hour coming back.
Kamukha ka ba ni Peps Villanueva na maglalakad, tapos yung kunyari 30 minutes na naglakad, yung pabalik niya, ibabas niya?
Ay, hindi. Mahirap dito sa Bedford.
Okay. Walang bus dyan. Okay. Kasi lalo na kung nasa gitna ka.
Mahirap lang. That's not too bad.
Okay, well. Ano pa to? Sige pa. Direct, sige. Pakita mo pa yung mga gusto mo mga ipakita rin. So, ito, ano to? Ito, nag-selfie ka lang.
May nakita akong ice cream pabalik.
Ice cream. Wow. Wow. Hindi ko pa kaya.
Ayan. Pagkain ko kanina.
Kanina ba yan? Ano ba yan? Parang ano ba yan? May rice? Ano yan?
Nachos.
Nachos. Wow. Attorney, no? Ano lang I'd like to eat all of these things. I'm still on although I've lost a lot of weight and I've gone down to almost 150. Problem is, yun nga, yung very, like, pinag-usapan natin of air, na yung stubborn, yung abdominal fat pa. Na, as soon as I more or less clear it, and it's out of the way, then, yeah, no, nanggit nga ako sa iyo, mga ice cream, yung mga nachos, so, yeah, but looking forward. And ikaw naman kasi very slim ka na and sexy, attorney, eh. So, di ba?
When you exercise, mas masarap ang ice cream.
I know.
Oh! Mas
There's a way of doing it without the although there's a bit of a sacrifice. Nane, kasi kamo nga, I don't know if I told you that we baked some bread na using almond flour and coconut flour. Yun ang ginawa namin because normally in bread ano yan, di ba? Wheat yata yan, di ba?
Yeah.
So we'll try now to creatively do, let's say, avocado ice cream. But not that. Oo, siguro may a bit of a sacrifice sa ano. Siguro stevia ba? Stevia ba yung ginagamit? Stevia?
Stevia.
I don't know, mga stevia siguro or something na pwedeng magamit. Condensed milk na you can create na. Hindi, yung makaka-create pala. I'd like to create, itong weekend gagawa ako ng sarili kong condensed milk. Na hindi, parang unsweetened ba? Or not really unsweetened, but sugar-free or parang ganun, no? Less. Ano pa? Under ano pa? Pero dahil kasi na-inggit ako sa'yo, nag-ice cream ka eh. So, yeah.
Ako, talaga ako sa ice cream. Pag nakakita ko ng ice cream van, para ako,
oh, yes. Para tayo sa Pilipinas, diba? Kleng, 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 kleng. Pati dito sa Pilipinas, dito, ang cute dito, diba? Papasok sa isang neighborhood, yung parang van. Diba? Van.
Dito sa amin, ganyan. Van na, so, punta agad ako. So, it was good. It was good.
Good.
It was a lot about, exercise, trying to get to training, trying to, trabaho tayo na trabaho, but also experiencing life. Hanapin mo ko, because that was for me, 10 years ko nang gusto yon. Hindi na ako makahanap ng panahon. I wanted to do the whole thing, 30 days or 30 to 40 days. I had to accept kasi sabi ko, all these years, I don't want to do a segment lang. Sabi ko, gusto ko maghanap ng panahon na magagawa ko in 30 to 40 days. And I have to accept na hindi talaga kakaya and in the near future, so I have to compromise.
Okay. So, Isasama ko na rin yan. Parang gagawa na rin ako. Teka muna, intriga ako sa ginagawa ni attorney. So, I'll check it out, attorney.
It's really quite, kasi madami pong people who know about it, karamihan ng naka-come across it. Parte din ng bucket list yan ng maraming tao, from what I've heard.
I'm intrigued now. You said it's been for years, thousands, even thousands, not hundreds, no? So, okay. Sige, let's do a regular, yung pagbati natin, attorney. Sino ang hulaan mong first natin na pagbati? Sino? Ito, mabilis lang papasok ng
ko kay Marian Galicia Panera. And last si Oliver. Ngayon kay Marian Galicia Panera.
Let's try Marian Galicia Panera. So, pasok natin yung bumper.
Yan.
Parang ahas yun. Parang ahas yun. Parang tumatakbong ahas. Sige. So, you thought of Marian Galicia Panera, you thought of Oliver siguro last time. So, si Marian ngayon. Sige, let's see kung sino unang bumati sa atin. Yan. Bago yan, attorney. Bago. Mohidin Mohamed. Oo nga.
Mohidin Mohamed.
Kilala mo yan?
Hello. Hindi po.
Binabati ka eh. Hi, attorney.
Parang Pilipino kasi hindi naman ako tatawagin attorneys.
Oo nga. Attorney.
Hindi ko po kilala. Kamusta po kayo? Kayo nanalo.
How are you? Mohidin Mohamed. In this situation, ano first name niya? Mohamed o Mohidin? Mohidin ang kanyang first name.
Tama po siguro natin. Ano po ba first name niyo? Mohamed o Mohidin? Noon. Taga-saan po kayo?
Taga-saan ka? Where are you from? Mr. Mohidin or Mr. Mohamed? No? O kasi sometimes sa mga Facebook, minsan binabaliktad nila. They put in the first name or the last name and then before the first name. Okay, siguro second natin, attorney. So, it's not Oliver, so hindi si Galicia una. So, Maria Galicia Paner pa rin. O sige, go tayo, direct.
Yan
Okay.
eh.
Okay. Sino kaya? Sino kaya? Sino kaya? Oy, si Stan. Nasa Amerika. Sige, Stan
Yes,
Lovely.
we're
Stan.
in California. Friend ko yan
Oh.
sa social media, si Stanley. Nakita ko ganda. Bakasyon grande. Good morning,
Wow.
Attorney Dana. Watching from Glendale, California, 10:20 a.m. Naku, pinaabangan ko yung mga post niya, yung mga pagkain post niya kasi ang daming Filipino restaurants.
Wow. Ano, holiday lang si Stan, holiday ka lang dyan. So, yung message niya, 10 minutes ago, kasi 6:30 na ngayon. 10:30 na ngayon. To be exact, 10:30 na ngayon sa ayan, sa kanila.
Magandang
Okay.
umaga sa Stanley.
Magandang umaga, Stan.
Enjoy sa Amerika.
Alright. So, hindi si Marian Galicia Paner.
Wala akong dito,
Okay.
mama.
Sige, wala ngayon. O, sige, third, sige, at least may last chance ka pa, attorney. Sige.
Kailangan kong panindigan si Marian Galicia.
Si Marian pa rin. Sige, subukan natin.
Tama kayo.
Tingnan natin. Oo, hopefully, tingnan natin. Sana. No. Pero good. Good. At least, di ba? They're now competing. It's not the usual si Oliver, di ba? We love Oliver. We love Marian Galicia Paner. Pero, di ba, nakakatuwa naman sila naman itong mga nauna ngayon. So, good. Pakibasa, attorney. Si May Tigbaw Vargas.
Vargas says, good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Mr. Laragan, bago ko makalimutan, isa sa ating supportive na audience dito, ang ating roving reporter, ang alam ko may piano recital siya na pupuntahan ngayon, pero birthday niya ngayon. Birthday
Oy! Birthday! Oy, happy birthday, Edgardo! Happy birthday! Oh, wow! Happy birthday sa iyo, no? Happy birthday! What? Recital? Well, talking of recital, alam ko si Attorney Lira started learning the piano because she's obsessed with the song Imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, she wants to learn. So, yun ang 2 or 3 months ago. Kukumustahin ko lang sa Thursday. So, ikaw ba, do you play any instrument, attorney?
Hindi ako musical, pero meron akong weird trivia sa inyo dahil meron akong, ewan ko ba, marunong ako mag-drums.
Wow.
Weird enough.
Drums ng song. Drums, may electric drums set?
Yeah, one year natuto ko, 1 year or a couple of summers, a very long time ago. Hindi ako magaling, marunong lang ako pag may drums, pero hindi po ako magaling. That's as best as I can.
Were you drum set o yung electric drums, yung pads?
Hindi pa uso, wala pa pong electric drums na araw.
Wala pa yung pads, yung mga pads. So, kasi, okay.
Matagal na po ito. This is a long time ago. We're talking ng 15 or 16. Kasi there was a group of us, may music school doon. I learned a little bit. Hindi talaga ako musical. Let's say that. But I want to learn. I want to try.
Wow, talaga. Nag-drums ka, ha?
I learned how to play drums and I learned a little bit about guitar, pero hindi po ako magaling.
Oh, okay.
Hindi na rin siguro. Marunong lang ako siguro humawak, and yung drums naman is about coordinating yung paa mo at yung snare, yung ganon. So, mas marunong ka, medyo marunong ka. So, that was...
nagro-rolling ka.
Rolling.
Okay, galing. Drum roll. Okay, galing, attorney, ha? That's good.
I haven't touched drum set in... Kailan ba ako nag-college? Siguro mga 17 years, 18 years now. But yeah.
Wow. Trivia yun, ha? Kita nyo, mga kaibigan. At least, di ba, you share something about yourself, di ba?
Yeah.
Na they get to see you, yung past experiences mo. Wow, good. Well, okay. Si Paolo, ito, meron siya, si Paolo Arisa Luna. Sige, attorney.
Wala talaga, hindi talaga. Nasaan na si Marlon Galicia pa na?
Wala pa rin,
Ayan,
oo.
Wala pa rin, okay lang yan. Good day po,
Sige.
Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna. Stay safe and healthy po. Stay safe and healthy din, Paolo.
Say healthy rin, Paolo, no? Okay, ayan, sino ba yan?
Summer, ano na lahat?
Clarice Villa. Villa kasi naging British tuloy ako, Villa.
Villa,
ayan.
yeah, ako rin. Parang Aston Villa. Diba?
Aston Villa, okay, di ba? Aston Villa, okay. Ayan.
Happy Tuesday down, Sir Sonny and Attorney Donna. San ba kayo?
Taga saan ka,
Saan ba
Clarice?
Saan ba?
Kasi parang parang something new at saka no? Sige.
At saka summary, parang summary, ano?
Summary,
Or
yeah.
Wala.
Uy, summer na, ha?
Summer na, yeah.
Next week na yata start, sorry. Di ba, parang technically June lang simula ng summer, di ba?
June, yes, June.
Sige.
Yeah.
Summer na tayo.
Gabriel Tejero says, Happy Tuesday, Sir Sonny Laragan and Attorney Donna Quinto. Happy Tuesday then, Gabriel.
Happy, Gabriel, si Gab, no? Uy, Queenie.
Ang daming bago, Queenie Custodio. Happy Tuesday po, Sir Sonny and Attorney Donna. Ingat everyone. Ayun, cute naman. Ingat.
Very
cute yan. Ganyan tayo, everyone.
Queenie, I like your, ganda ng picture ni Queenie, eh. Sige.
Uy,
si Ma'am Cora.
Ayun, it's Cora!
Ma'am Cora, we love you, ha? Mahal natin to.
Mahal natin yan. Hello to Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna, and all masayang gabi. Masayang gabi to everyone. Everyone's a bit upbeat kasi, alam mo yung weather is lighter eh. May araw pa.
Pero parang gabi ang tawag natin, pero maaraw dito. Sa Pilipinas kasi alas 6 pa lang, may madilim-dilim na. Pero dito, yung birthday boy!
Ayan, happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Meron ba tayo dyan direct na happy birthday? Yung ating, asan yung tingaling nating birthday song? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Edgar.
Happy birthday!
Si Edgardo ba? May nickname ba siya? Ed ba? O Edgar? Edgar? O ano pa?
Edgardo? Ed, tawag namin Ed din eh. Si Edgardo po ang totoong author, ang original talaga na nag-coin ng term na Happy Tuesday. So, credit where credit is due sa ating birthday boy, ang Happy Tuesday yan. And he's saying Happy Tuesday to you, Mr. Laragan, Attorney Donna. Viewers, I'm in piano recital of Victor Asuncion, I think organized by the Embassy. He has appeared in concert halls in Brazil, Canada, Ecuador, France, Italy, Germany, Japan, Mexico, the Philippines, Spain, Turkey, and the USA as a recitalist and concerto soloist. Starts at 6:30 p.m. See you later. Thanks. Nag-umpisa na ata.
Wow!
Wow,
galing.
Cultured naman. Very cultured.
Well, okay. Ayan. Sa UST, I would watch a lot of recitals kasi UST has a conservatory of music. And the UST singers, action singers or UST singers are always mga world champion yan in terms of mga choral contest. Yeah. And their conductor, si Fides, Kalalang. Younger brother no kaklasiko sa Notre, si Dr. Ferdinand Kalalang. Pero yung brother niya, Fidel Kalalang, is a world-renowned conductor, and he has conducted UST in so many awards all over the world. Mahusay yun. Professor Fidel Kalalang. Yata, Fidel Kalalang.
Go with that.
Pero younger brother yan nung kaklasiko, si Ferdinand Kalalang, yung director ng Kalalang Medical Center diyan sa Valenzuela.
Ayan, narinig ka na ate yung Kalalang Medical Center.
Ayan.
Santos Grace.
Kaklasiko yan. Ayan, so Santos Grace, taga Portugal.
Good afternoon po. Watching from Lisbon, Portugal. Good afternoon there.
Grace, mabuhay ka. We love you. We were so glad that you're there watching us direct from Lisbon, no? Lisboa. Rudy Libro, international tayo, attorney. From Lisbon to Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Hi, happy Tuesday. Dodo Package Attorney Donna, and mga always pogi, Sir Sonny and Sir Edgar, and lovely Direct Paula, and all happy viewers from Team Lebrojo. Nako, Rudy, always very kind.
Rudy, mabuhay.
Positive ni Rudy. Nakakatuwa talaga. Ang daming bago.
Si Gigi Elamparo. Gigi, mabuhay ka. Ha? Sige, pakibasa, attorney. Gigi Elamparo.
Gigi Elamparo. Good evening, Attorney Donna and Sir Sonny. Happy Tuesday. Naku, napansin ko, ang gaganda ng mga profile picture ng mga kababayan natin. Ha? Talagang
kailangan yata.
Background. It's good. Nakakatuwa.
You should,
very
parang
nice.
parang in other words, you have to exert an effort to put up profile pics. No? So, maganda. Yan, good.
Yeah.
Ayan, oy.
Rudy also says, happy birthday, Sir Edgar. All the best from Team Lebrojo. Happy birthday, Ed.
Mabuhay,
Happy
Team
birthday,
Lebrojo, ha?
Ed.
Mabuhay kayo, ha? Oo nga, birthday ni Edgardo Cagahastian, mabuhay ka, no? Nonood na siya ng kanyang, ng pangalan niya, ng, ano pangalan ito? Ng recital, no? Okay, so ang topic natin, we're gonna have a short break, pero ito nga, ang topic natin when we come back is causation and losses in negligence cases. Ayan.
Yes, kasi last week, di ba, breach of duty yung ating tinakal. Kasabi ko, 3 ang sangkap ng negligence cases. Hindi lang po isa, hindi lang 2, kundi 3. And that's yung unang topic natin last week was breach of duty, yun yung first element. And then we're dealing with second and third. All in one go, dahil medyo magkakonektado sila, but also it's good to wrap the negligence series bearing in mind this 2 topics. So, pati po ito ating hashtag negligence series.
Cause and loss, no? Causation and losses. Yan, okay.
Yes.
Causation and causes.
If you are a law student or if you're looking at studying law, isa to sa pinaka-interesting na part. Non-negligence, or if you're doing tort or civil litigation, this is one of the main, isa sa parating pabalik-balik that you will hear probably all throughout your career. The 3 elements of negligence: breach, causation, and losses.
Okay, ayan, so abangan ninyo. So we're gonna have a short break. When we come back, ayan causation and losses in negligence cases with Attorney Danna Quinto. Huwag po kayong alis.
Mula doon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
%, all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile, 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mana, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS. Harassment? O baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo? Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
Mula sa kabisera ng Inglaterra, sa puso ng Britanya, London, UK. London, UK. Ito ang Channel Philippines Network. Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK. Sumasayang papawid 24 oras. 24 oras. Buong linggo. Sa www.pinoyradiouk.com. Ang mga pinakapaborito mga awitin, mga pinakaabangang programa, at mga sariwang balita at impormasyon mula at para sa mga kababayang Pilipino sa UK at sa buong mundo. Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK.
Okay, welcome back sa ating programa sa mga naka-tune in just now. No? Pumasok lang ho. Ako po si Sonny Laragan, dito po sa Legal Advice Corner. Pero syempre kasama natin yung pinaka-start, host ng ating program. Walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA QUINTO. Attorney, good afternoon, good evening, good morning once again. Pero good afternoon, good evening tayo rito, di ba? Oo.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, midnight, wherever you are, tuloy po kayo, good evening. Welcome back again. Thank you, Mr. Laragan. Natutuwa ako, gusto ko lang sabihin, mention, ang ganda ng mga adverts, tsaka ng mga, video, talagang, very, very good.
Wow, kay Direk tayo, saluduhan natin si Direk, no? Kung wala sa direksyon at production ni Direk na coordination, wala yan, no? So, we're gonna go now to the topic, yung causation. Sabi mo, second part to it. It's a three-part supposedly, but we combine this causation and losses in negligence cases. Sige, take it away, Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Laragan. So, a little bit of a rewind, kumbaga, last week, because we're on negligence series. Itong mga negligence na to, ano ba to? Hindi lang po to medical negligence. Negligence is it can happen in a lot of in any relationship where one party assumed responsibility for the other party. As what we learned last week, dun sa breach of duty of care, basta may duty of care, kailangan may assumption ka ng responsibility. And the usual instances na yun nga, doctor and patient, solicitor client, nangyayari din dun sa mga motor vehicle users and pedestrian or other motor vehicle users. So yun, negligence, nakikita natin yan sa iba't ibang sitwasyon. Mapa road traffic accident man, mapa advice, minsan building in construction cases, minsan surveyors failing to pick up things, sometimes in advice. And sometimes product liability din. Narinig na natin, di ba? May mga nire-recall na mga product. And then because it's defective. Meron din tayong naririnig na mga negligence or liability in terms of premises. Dahil hindi na nabigyan ng reasonably safe premises. And so on and so forth. So that's negligence as a whole. Ang sabi natin dito sa series na to last week, and this is the second and the last part dahil kinumbay natin, hihimayin natin ang tatlong sangkap ng negligence. The first one being the breach of duty. We did that last week. And the second and third are causation and losses. Dahil sabi ko nga po last week, hindi lang po enough na injured ako. Sure shot na yan. Automatic na. Sure shot na. Successful ang aking negligence claim. Or, sometimes you might say, nakita ko na hindi niya finalo yung code ng kanilang profession or hindi niya finalo yung a certain prescribed na stepwise process for this particular situation. Therefore, successful na agad yung case ko. No, you have to prove all of these factors. Tatlong sangkap, as we said. The first one is kailangan mo i-prove na may assumption of responsibility, may duty of care at na-breach yung duty na yon. And this time, you also have to prove causation and losses. As I've said earlier, for law students or wanting to be law students, or if you're in legal practice or wanting to be in legal practice, this is quite an interesting feature. Parati po naming pinag-aawayan ang causation at isa din po ang losses. I mean, parati namin pinag-aawayan yung tatlong sangkap, but one of the things, especially in medical negligence, isa po sa highly debated, highly argued legal point is causation. Ano nga ba yan? You know, ano yung attorney na, what is that causation? Si Mr. Laragan mahilig sa mga principles of law. And meron ako mga special na mga wordings, especially talagang inano ko para kay Mr. Laragan today, yung mga unusual na mga kasabihan or unusual phrases na makikita lang natin sa law. So causation, from the word cause, ito bang breach na yan? So the question really, coming from last week, yung breach, yung kanyang pagkakamali, did it cause the loss? So sabihin mo, di ba, obvious naman yan? You know, isn't that obvious most of the time? Actually, the answer is, it's not obvious most of the time, actually. So, you will have to really link na yung kanilang pagkakamali o pagkukulang. Say, for example, in a road traffic accident, the fact na hindi ka nila nakita at nabangga ka nila, that caused your loss, which is in this case, in the usual cases, nagkaroon ka ng injury and that caused you pain, suffering, and financial losses. So that's pretty easy, very, very straightforward and very, very easy to prove or to argue. In some cases, not so much. So medical negligence claim, sabi nila, ito hindi mo finalo yung code, yung stepwise process na sabi ng ibang doktor. Reasonable body of doctor said, dapat ito yung ginawa mo sa operasyon. Ito yung naging ending. Ito yung naging outcome. Ngayon tatanungin namin yung expert. Ito ba, yan lang ba ang cause na bakit siya ay, say for example, hindi na makalakad or hindi na, may permanent disability siya. Kailangan ng sagot is yes, or kailangan ng sagot is substantially or materially yes. Dahil kung may ibang rason, kung may ibang other true cause ng resulta na yon, fail po ang inyong kaso. Sometimes, in situation like that, the reason is nakita na actually may degenerative disease na magiging ganun din yung outcome and ang true cause hindi yung negligence but another reason or another source of that outcome. So yun ang talagang tatanungin. Ito ba mag-link ba yan? Sila ba? Yan lang ba ang nag-iisa or potent link? Yan na ba ang material na naging rason kung bakit ganito yung outcome ng sitwasyon mo ngayon? Bakit ka may sakit? Bakit ka injured? Bakit ka may for whatever reason it is, ano man yung naging epekto sa'yo, ano man yung losses mo, is that the only reason or is that the material reason? That's causation. Sometimes, it's based on facts. Makikita mo just on facts. Sometimes, obviously, you're gonna have to get an expert again to prove your causation case. Now, minsan, syempre, ang buhay, hindi naman yan perfecto, hindi naman yan naka-vacuum, minsan may mga intervening event. Sabihin naman ako, there was one case, and I'll give you sample cases. Ang sabi nila, pag may intervening event, na kumbaga kung sequence yan ng event, kung may nag-intervene at nag-change yung course ng event na yun, and that could potentially affect yung causation na argument. So may isang case, NHS, most of the cases sa medical negligence, most of the cases, mga precedent namin na tinatawag yung mga kaso na pinagbabasihan namin ang argumento namin bilang abogado. If you're a law student, most of the cases actually in this particular area ay mga medical negligence case or cases against NHS. It's a brain damage case. Ang sabi doon, kahit na mali yung binigay na advice in terms of waiting time, Di ba? Parang familiar. Pero umalis yung pasyente. Voluntarily umalis yung pasyente. That was an intervening event. Not change yung causation because voluntarily they moved. They got out of the hospital. The same then, ito para sa mga gumagamit ng produkto na kahit may recall na or nagsabi defective, tapos later on sabihin mo, uy, hindi kiklaim pa rin kami. Now, pag nasabihan na po kayo na defective yung product at kayo pa rin po ay pinatuloy niyong gamitin, hihina po ang kaso nyo. Hihina po yung causation nyo. Kasi, sabi natin, may intervening event. Pinakialaman mo, ikaw ang voluntaryo mong ginamit yung produkto, kahit na yung risk, binigay na, pinaalam na sa'yo. Now, eto na tayo sa mga special terms. This is specifically for Mr. Laragan. May tinatawag kami dito sa area na to ng law na thin skull rule. I'll repeat it, thin skull rule. Manipis na skull. That's the translation. Diba yung skull sa atin? Nakalimutan ko na yung translation. But it's called thin skull rule. Again, law students, that's a principle of law that you will hear all the time. One of my favorite na terms. It's what it means, and it's applicable criminal law, it's applicable sa civil law. What it means is, ang accused ay hindi makaka-escape ng liability dahil susceptible ang kanyang biktima. So you have to take the victim as you found them. So kung medyo mahina yung victim mo, medyo sakitin, hindi ibig sabihin niya na mas mababa ang liability mo. You have to take the victim. Kaya nga thin skull rule. Or sometimes I think, I forgot, eggshell, thin, may isa pang term to, but this is really what we call it nowadays, thin skull rule. This came from a case, Blau case, that's the name of Blau. I think that's how it's pronounced. And this is going to be a memorable case if you're a law student, because I remember this particular case hanggang ngayon. It's been 12 years since law school. Ito yung case na I think na aksidente o may murder ba, I think. But yung pasyente, yung injured person, yung biktima, kailangan niya ng blood transfusion. So, nadala pa siya sa hospital. But the patient or the victim refused blood transfusion on the basis of religious ground. So, ang sabi nung perpetrator, nako, hindi ko na kasalanan yan. Kasalanan na yan. Kasalanan ng beliefs niya. I'm absolved of liability. That argument did not work. So, you have to take the victim as you found it, kasama ng beliefs niya, kasama ng reasonable beliefs niya, and susceptibility niya. Although, if you're going to be a personal injury lawyer, you will hear this a lot in a lot of cases. We call it accelerated deterioration. So, may mga cases, and I myself had a case where yung client ko, may sakit na. May sakit na sa neck. I think it's called spondylosis. Hindi ko ma-pronounce. I'm not a medical doctor. I can read medical records. I can't just pronounce them. So she had a neck condition. So medyo mahina. So katulad dito, susceptible daw to injury. Yun yung sabi nila. She had a road traffic accident, negligence, breach of duty. May duty sa kanya yung kabilang car. They breach it kasi sila naman talaga may kasalanan. No issue with that. It caused the injury. Doon kami nagkaroon ng malaking pagtatalo ng kabilang abogado. Because I said, naku, tingnan mo yung kliyente ko. Really, really deteriorated now. And it caused this much loss. Sabi nila sa akin, Dana, you have to prove yung causation na ito lang ang rason yan at hindi yung degenerative condition na andun na and will happen regardless kahit hindi nangyari yung aksidente. So we had to argue that a lot. We used medical evidence, we used legal arguments. In the end, ang lesson doon is it did not absolve them of the responsibility dahil lang may sakit na yung kliyente ko, meron na siyang neck issue, and the neck issue got deteriorated. But we still have to argue causation. I still have to prove yung link nung breach of duty na yon, nung pagkakamali nila sa losses, sa extent of losses ng client ko, which included, which I will talk a lot later, is accelerate yung retirement niya. She was about to retire, but not for 1 or 2 years sana, but dahil sa aksidente, and na-force siya mag-retire agad. She had to go to a lot of hospital appointments. She suffered pain and loss of immunity, or loss ng paggamit ng neck niya, and so on and so forth. I will talk more about that later. But really, that's the essence of taxation. One of the most argued principles in law. Seems a little complicated at times, but as I've said, visual ako na ta. If you want to really think about it visually, kailangan may piece of string ka. So yung tatlong pieces na yun, parang kailangan mong i-link to one another na solid enough that they will form one whole string of an element of negligence case. So tatlong elemento, you link that, may string ka, and it must be strong enough. Kailangan talagang link sila in order for that to succeed. So that's my metaphor for it, for other for law students out there. Now the third, as I've said, hindi lang yun, breach of duty, link mo, string mo, link mo sa causation, but the causation, you have to link to foreseeable losses. In road traffic accident, wherein we normally practice this type of apply this negligence principle, yung losses na to, fairly straightforward, or may imagine foreseeable is ano yung mafu-foresee natin in terms of this particular person, because the objective of the award is to put yung victim in a position kung hindi sana nangyari yung sitwasyon, yung aksidente in this instance. So how do we do it? Ano ba yung mga losses na to? The first, in road traffic accident na pain, suffering, and loss of immunity just by the fact na nagkaroon ka ng injury. So meron agad yon na attributable na losses. How do we find out kung magkano? This is it. That's it. There's a judicial college guidelines for the assessment of general damages in personal injury. So we lawyers, we use this. Kita mo yan, natin, injuries to ang brain and head injury, a very severe brain damage. In cases at the top of this bracket, there may be some ability to follow basic commands, but little evidence of meaningful response. So, kung yung client mo, brain damage, wala na talagang very little meaningful response to environment, need for full-time care nursing, 379,100 pounds. So, nandyan po yan. Ito is I think this is the latest version. The same thing, parate fracture. Yan, parate sa mga road traffic accident, diba? So, that's chapter 7. We'll look at that. Orthopedic injuries, neck injury. I told you about my client's case. So, merong minor. Hindi siya minor, but most of the time, mga minor cases, soft tissue injury. Depende, could be from 7,000 to 12,000 or 4,000 to 12,000. Moderate is 23,000 to 36,120. There's an art and science to it. By art, hindi ko sinasabi na pwede lang kami maglagay ng figure dyan. So the science behind it is you have to follow this guidance. That's what it calls. Guidelines, diba? So that's what they say, guidelines. So this is kung mga personal injury lawyer nyo kung nagtataka, sa kaya kinuha ni Dana yung figure na yun. So this is where we get the figure for pain, suffering, and loss of immunity. That's the injury. Injury yan. So we do our quantum research. Isa na naman sa mga term, quantum research. Magre-research kami sa mga cases, previous cases, magkano in-award ng korte. We will use this as well, and we will try to find out what applies in your case, and we will use that figure for the main claim for damages. Pero hindi lang po yan ang makiklaim nyo. As probably people who had an accident before would know, syempre, pag masama pakiramdam mo, you're not yourself, most of the time, hindi tayo makapag-trabaho. So, kung serious yung accident, I've dealt with very, very serious accidents before. It may mean 1 year, 2 years na walang trabaho. It may mean early retirement for some people. I've had cases na talagang wala na po silang natira na employment opportunity for one reason. Normally that's traumatic brain injury and they wouldn't be able to work again. So that's part of the losses, the loss of earnings. So what we do is look at historic earnings and use that to evidence. First of all, may past earnings na nawala and future earnings as well. So we use yung evidence mo ng career mo, what it's likely going to be in the next 20, 30 years kung permanent yung damage. Kung hindi naman permanent, depende sa ebidensya, 2 years ka lang na or 6 months ka lang na medyo maapektuhan yung trabaho mo. It all depends on the evidence and we'll use that to factor in kung ano yung kailangan nating i-claim. So that's loss of earnings. Sometimes you'll have what we call meron kang disadvantage sa labor market. We're not saying na i-discriminate ka, but just generally disadvantage just because siguro hindi mo na magawa yung physical labor and you may have to retrain to do another retrain your skills to be in another industry and another form of employment. We factor that in as well. Yung rehabilitation mo, future care, that's also factored in. Kung inalagaan ka ng pamilya mo and they too lost, say, 2 months worth of work, we factor that in as well. So we look at your case subjectively too. Hindi lang itong general guidelines na yan. We look at how this impacted your life and how this will impact your life. At kung paano ka namin mababalik dun sa posisyon kung hindi sana nangyari yung aksidente. But, you have a duty to mitigate your loss. So, kailangan din by mitigate sabihin, ano ba yung mitigate na yan? It means na kailangan minamanage mo rin. Kailangan you are seen to be trying to be reasonable with, with the losses. You're making steps to, na-follow mo kung ano yung sinabi ng physio mo to get better. You're making reasonable decisions in terms of your rehabilitation. So that's really the 3 elements. If you look at it, hindi lang agad-agad dahil may injury ka, automatic successful yung case. O hindi lang agad-agad na dahil na-prove mo na hindi niya finalo yung particular code of conduct or highway code or nurses code, guaranteed na rin na panalo yung kaso. You have to go through those 3 elements. You have to tie that up all together to make a successful case. And for practical tips, just for causation and loss, especially in road traffic accidents, because most of the time we deal with road traffic accidents or clinical negligence or anything na may physical manifestation ng injury. These are practical tips in making your claim, yung evidence mo, mas watertight. I always say to my client, this is a weird thing, to keep a pain diary. So ano ba yung pain diary? From my experience, what I know, ang unang tinatanong ng siguro doktor na mag-examine sa'yo, if you've been to the GP, if you've been to the physio, how's your pain level? O, kailan masakit yan? Kailan hindi masyado masakit? And from my own experience, personal experience, mahirap i-remember, masakit last week or yesterday, but I can't really remember kung hindi ko na-jot down yung exact time or exact days na masakit siya, or if I can't see the pattern. So, if you've had fractures before, what I've heard, or kung may metal pins ka, ang pagkakaalam ko, pag rainy season, mas masakit yan. And it helps the doctor as well na mabigyan ka ng mas accurate na prognosis. It helps us lawyers to frame what it is you're feeling? Ano ba ang epekto? Ano ba yung sitwasyon mo ngayon? Are we getting better? Tama ba yung sinabi ng medical report mo na magaling ka na in 18 months? So please do keep a pain diary straight away. Kahit maliit na injury lang yan, kahit 2 or 3 months lang yan, at least alam mo, yung pain ko, it's been painful for 2-3 months. I wasn't able to do housework. I wasn't able to garden. I wasn't able to do a golf. Nakita ko si Sol, may golf set, kaya ako naalala. All of those things, how it affected your life. Kasi pag tinanong na kita, mahirap kahit ako din, hindi ko na maalala kung anong ginawa ko 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, kung ano yung masakit sa akin 3 weeks ago. So it's always helpful to keep that diary. Di mo lang dadalhin sa abogado, pati din sa doktor. So when they talk to you, how's everything, you'll be able to recite to them, nako doc, ito yung diary ko. So yeah, that's very helpful from experience. Keep receipts. Second, keep yung resibo. Sabi natin sa Pilipinas, please pakipakita ng resibo. The same din po dito, kailangan natin ng resibo. So if you said na nag-physio ako, nag-osteopath ako, ito yung binayaran ko. I went to this private acupuncture to help with the pain. It happens a lot of time. I would need receipts. I would need so that I can claim that back kung successful yung ibang elemento and we get to the losses. Kailangan ko din yung ebidensyahan if I'm claiming that. So please keep your receipts. Keep a tally kung ano man yung mga financial losses nyo because hindi lang din yun. So any direct financial losses, sometimes you have to buy a new chair. That's expensive. Or you have to buy minsan in very, very severe cases when we're talking about yung una kong sinabi sa inyo, talagang traumatic brain injury na kailangan ng full-time nursing care. Sometimes, kailangan ng bagong bahay, na bungalow instead of 2 floors that it's all disabled access. So, with that, I think more than receipts, kailangan natin ng full-on proposal ng long-term care. Yun yung sinasabi namin. So hindi na resibo yan. It's more on a plan for long-term rehabilitation, long-term care, long-term nursing care, or long-term na pag-aalaga and aid. Now, the other one is, ito, minsan, ang pagkakaalam ko yung mga, lalo na yung mga hindi ganun ka severe yung accidents or hindi ganun ka severe yung epekto tinitiis or walang time tapos wala tayong paper trail. Please go to the doctor kahit simple lang yung aksidente. And as I said before, this is interesting observation and road traffic accident. Yung mga soft tissue injury, nararamdaman karamihan yan after 48 hours pa. Dahil pag nagkaroon tayo ng medyo traumatic na incident, the adrenaline rushes in and it protects us. So parang high pa tayo sa adrenaline. A lot of my clients say na naramdaman nila yung sakit, naramdaman nila yung bruises, o naramdaman nila talaga yung spasm ng back nila or ng muscle after 2 days. So you should go to a doctor. You should still call an ambulance, by the way. Kahit sa tingin mo wala kang still call an ambulance. You'll never know kung may concussion. You'll never know kung internal injuries. Call police, call the ambulance, and then after a few days, follow it up with a GP appointment para alam natin na safe po kayo. Follow what they say. So pag sinabing mag-physio, pag sinabing ganito, pag sinabing wag gawin ganito, please, paki-follow. Sabi nga natin, you have to mitigate your loss, di ba? Kailangan nating ma-show na reasonable din tayo, na tayo nagtatrabaho, hindi naman nag-e-effort para gumaling tayo, para we get better. So we need to be able to show that too. So those are practical tips in terms of dealing with negligence cases. It's not just road traffic accident, because we talked about road traffic accident before, but these are practical tips in general sa negligence. You can apply that in other cases, product liability, professional negligence. Still keep receipts, pain diary, may sakit ng ulo mo dahil dun sa sitwasyon na yun. And make sure that, if you're likely to make that particular siguro correspondence or situation part of your case, make sure may paper trail ka. So that's really, law is about what you can prove. A lot of the time it is about what you can prove either by fact or by an expert evidence. And if you're going to I think a last practical advice is go to a lawyer. Go to a lawyer. Lots of we give free 30-minute consultation, and I'd rather give my advice as early as possible kasi mas madali i-manage in case. So don't be afraid to talk to a lawyer. Lots of lawyers, most lawyers would rather give that early advice rather than later on in the case. So yan po ang ating second batch, and that's the entirety of the negligence series dahil tayo may konting break from divorce and children arrangement order. Dito muna tayo sa civil litigation dahil hindi natin masyado napupuntahan tayo in the past few months. We're back here. One of my favorite area of law from my experience. If you are a law student, this probably is attributable to a large part of tort law. So very, very interesting. Back to you, Mr. Laragan.
Yes. Talking about thin skull rule, yata another word for it is eggshell
Rule, that's it.
skull rule. Okay.
Yeah,
So kunyari, causation, naglalakad akong ganun. Kunyari lang, biglang may tumawag sa aking kaibigan, kunyari si Edgardo. Mr. Laragan, napatingin ako, tapos napaatras akong ganun. May nabangga akong tao. Nabangga ako, tapos siguro nauntog ng konti yung ulo niya sa isang wall. Pero while nauntog siya, bigla siya inatake sa puso. Nasabay din. So, hanggang sa mamatay siya, kasalanan ko?
Nako, now the question is, may case po na ganyan. Was it
kasi aksidente lang, nasiko ko, tapos biglang nadulas lang siguro. Wag na sa atin nauntog, nadulas.
Yeah.
Pero kung nadulas, tiyempong-tiyempo siguro ng panahon na yun, magkakaroon siya ng heart attack. Maski hindi ko siya mabangga, hindi ko siya nabangga, magkakaroon talaga ng heart attack yun. Na-tiyempo pag nadulas. Wala akong kasalanan.
Well, in my opinion, kasi kung ang causation ang magic word doon is magkakaroon naman siya ng heart attack kahit hindi ko siya binangga. If you can prove that, if you can prove na nakita mo doon na ang kanyang na calcified na, makikita po yan sa postmortem calcified.
Really? Okay. So yun ang defense ko.
Unfortunately,
yun ang magiging defense kailangan,
I had to deal with a similar case like that many years ago, and the other side argued that hindi nila in-argue na wala silang kasalanan. In-argue nila na at some point, yung life expectancy ng client mo is not as long as you thought it would be because nakita nila dun sa postmortem na calcified na yung heart ng client ko, and we had to get a life expectancy report. And we had to get a life expectancy report. I argued 10 years. They argued 3 years. I think we settled. I can't remember kung anong year yung it's a bit unkind to say no, we were trying to pick. Unfortunately, that case wala na yung kliyente. It was a death case. And I feel very strongly for that case. That was one of the last cases I did before I left St. Ruben. So that is quite important. May isa pang case in law where very similar. So you have to find out kung ano ba talaga yung main cause. And exactly as you said, Mr. Laragan, would that event had happened kahit hindi mo ginawa yung yung accidental na pagtulak sa kanya? And if the answer is yes, then wala. Ang causation hindi po sa'yo. Ang causation andun sa heart attack.
Okay, well, at least nalilinawan ho ninyo. Maganda yan, So, breach of duty, causation, at saka itong ikatlo, yung losses. Okay, may computation, may libro pa tayo, no?
May libro tayo.
Ayan, guidelines. Okay, we'll go now into the question. May isa tayong question dito before we go into some last mga pagbati natin. Sige, go direct. Ay, gusto ko yung photo mo rito, attorney, Talaga. Sige. Ayan, okay. Alright. Ayan, okay. Okay, sige, yung question natin direct, sige, labas natin para ipakita natin. Okay, alright, yan. Attorney.
Hi, Hi, Attorney Donna and Sir Sonny. About to file a divorce with my ex-husband. May isang concern na po ako, which is baka hindi siya makipag-cooperate o pumirma sa divorce paper. If ever na mangyari po ito, ano po ang pwede kong gawin? Thanks to both of you. And that's a question from Ria S. Now, may mga, kailangan pa rin nating hanapin yung husband mo, and we have to show efforts that we are trying to serve him the divorce papers. But there are additional na procedure. Meron naman tayong recourse sa law. You know, what we call substituted service or deemed service. So those are the two principles. But that may mean an additional hearing. Kahit may yung usual, di ba, ang ano namin ngayon sobrang simple na lang ng divorce petition. But still, kung mahihirapan tayo, is we can get directions from the court or we can get an order from the court. But in most cases, we still have to show that we have tried our best to find your husband and serve them the divorce papers. These days, dito sa UK, it's fairly, I wouldn't say easy. I'm a bit, ayoko ma-jinx na sinasabi ko easy. But may mga sistema dito sa UK to find individuals. It's not so hard to find individuals, as well as minsan, you know, pag may mga case law nga, may mga case precedent na na-serve yung papers nila via Facebook. I'm not saying yun na mangyayari sa'yo, ha. And that may still mean a court order allowing that. But be assured, may mga options tayo via the court to still allow the proceedings to happen kahit na matigas ang ulo ng kabila.
So kung ayaw pumirma, merong paraan. Would it be an expensive alternative? Because you will now have to require the law.
Hindi naman siya prohibitively expensive.
Okay.
Additional layer of expense, we would say. It depends on the situation as well. Kasi meron nun, nag-reply siya. Nag-reply siya, alam na natanggap niya, matigas na talaga ulo niya. So we ask for court order na ipatuloy na lang. So hindi pa, lalo na ngayon na no-fault divorce, mahirap na i-defend ngayon. So it's really we'll see how this pans out kasi baka naman, you know, bigla na lang napakaraming mga marriages na bigla na lang na-dissolve kasi ganun nakadali. But the view of the Court of England in Wales is pag sinabi mo na irretrievably broken down yung marriage mo, actually nagsasign ka po ng statement of truth doon eh. So that's very, very serious. Kumbaga parang nag-oath ka sa korte na tama yung sinasabi mo. And if you lie na hindi naman pala you're very happy, that may be, you know, that may be a problem later. But most of the time, by the time that people would do their divorce petition, the court says at the moment, no fault divorce tayo. So hopefully that would also mean in those instances na medyo matigas ang ulo, you can apply. And this option has been there even before this no fault divorce. Because the court would take the assumption that, look, you know, especially if you've received the papers, you have to respond.
Okay, well, so ibig sabihin, hindi hopeless, no? Talagang kung ayaw mo na sa tao, gusto mo na i-divorce, may way pa rin, hindi porque hindi siya pumirma or he doesn't want to be served, he or she, as the case may be, no? Oo, kung sino man.
May way po. May way by means of asking the court for further directions or further order. But what you need to know is may way.
Okay, ayan. So at saka kung wala ng love di ba? O bakit? Pero merong sa Pilipinas ba o dito basta may parang period may cooling off parang period na tapos pag dalagpasan na yun, talagang tuloy na. Talagang mukhang talagang seryoso na.
You can't divorce within the first year of your marriage. Yun lang ang hinihingi ng UK law. So, you have to give it 1 year.
Yun. So, you cannot be divorced within 1 year? Yun.
On your first year. Yun lang hinihingi nila. You know,
hindi kasi nga, baka mag-cool off baka di ba? Baka lang. Okay,
Meron
sige.
kami, kwento ko, meron kami, tinawagan. Sabi niya, kailangan ba talaga yung 1 year na yan? So sabi naman na, talagang kailangan mo yan. Talagang tumawag siya nung first year anniversary, saktong-sakto. Not 1 day later, talagang saktong hinintay niya talaga. Kumbaga parang feeling ko hinintay niya sa kalendaryo.
Naku, kawawa naman, no? Talagang nag-aabang, no?
Kawawa
Talagang
din.
wow, oo, dahil 365 days talagang, Diyos
Tagal
ko,
din.
Lord, tagal naman niya, maghihintay pa ako. Talagang eager lang
Tumawag sa
talaga.
amin months before. Tapos talagang tumawag siya sakto to the day. And they said, look,
Oh,
I
wow.
called a few months ago. And now
Okay.
I'm calling back kasi napuno ko na yung 1 year.
Pero kung namatay ni asawa mo within 1 year, wala ka ng problema, no? O, tapos na, o. Wala na, di ba? Wala ka na. Pero ang problema na ngayon, yung kung mga...
Huwag mo naman pong patayin. Yun lang
Hindi,
ko.
hindi naman papatayin ka lang. Paano ngayon kung meron ka may naiwang properties or anything, paano mo iti-trace ngayon yun? Makakatulong. Pwede rin. Ano ba, makahanap din naman yan. Oo. Attorney, yeah, may mga pagbati tayo, mga final pagbati dito. Okay, Lorna Velasco, yan.
Oh, Lori! Oh, that's my best
Lori.
friend.
Lori pala. Oh,
Si
hi, Lori.
po, ay andito po yan sa UK 2007 and 2008 and 2015 to 2017. But Lori's my best friend. Lori's my college best friend. Ako, mahal na mahal ko yan at ang family niya.
Umuwi si
Inaanak
Lori.
ko po-
Nasa Pilipinas na si Lori?
Nasa Pilipinas na po si Lori.
Okay.
Inaanak ko po
Lori.
yung
Lori.
anak
Lori.
ko.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Ninang. Si
Lori.
Ninang. Ninang, okay.
Nako, she's great.
she's
Ayan na,
great.
si Oliver.
Lori. Si Oliver.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Logged in late, but still enjoying a very interesting
Yeah.
topic. Thank you, Oliver.
Oliver, mabuhay ka. Mabuhay. So, ayan. Uy, Analo Antipuesto. Ito, yung mayaman na to. Marami ng pera to.
Ang daming negosyo ni Anal. Bilib ako kay Anal.
Teka muna, Annalise, sandali, ang question, baka mamaya, tinubo mo, sa'yo na napunta dyan, yung iniinom mo, tinubo mo na, no? Oh.
Very healthy din si Anal.
Oh, yes. Oh, 3
Healthy
kilo.
na pagkain.
3 kilos
At
pa na
nagbabike.
nawala sa kanya. Oo.
Nagbabike. Amazing evening.
Nagbabike na ba siya? Ba, si Annalise
Bakit ako
nagbabike.
naka-helmet yun ng isang araw eh. Di ba?
Wow.
Nagsa-cycle ka.
Galing.
Naka-inspire. Kuya Sonny, direct pa to all viewers. God bless everybody.
Ay, teka muna, binabasa pa, direct.
Ay, hindi. Okay na.
God bless everybody. Okay, alright. Oh, yeah, okay. Sige. Ano pa? Next natin si Andrew Foreman.
Andrew Foreman.
Oh, Andrew, how are you? Kamusta?
Kamusta?
Ikaw ba, is that you or you have a secretary typing in the message? Si Andrew. Si Andrew Foreman, I love this guy. Wherever I go, I would MC. No, he's a with a good sense of humor to see Andrew. No, ano yata, nagkakat yata ng mga gardens yan si Andrew.
Ay, wow. Ang galing.
Oh, tagal na sila ng girlfriend niya. Sila pa rin, no? Dati, puro Pinay ang gusto nitong girlfriend, Si Andrew. He loves Filipinas. So he's having one after the other Filipina girlfriends, no? Andrew, how are you? Mabuhay.
How are you?
Andrew Foreman, kaibigan natin yan. So we love this guy. Okay, well, I guess yan na muna si Andrew. Andrew, thank you. Kumusta? Hindi ko alam kung marunong Tagalog to. Siya nag-type. Yung girlfriend niya na nasa Essex ba yung girlfriend nito? Yata. Katuwa. Minsan, nakikita pa yung dalawang girlfriend niya in one event, no?
Binubuking mo naman si Andrew, Mr. Laragan.
Andrew. I love this guy, si Andrew. He's a wonderful guy. I love Andrew. Andrew, I love him. I love this guy. Nice. Very, good-natured yan. He's a good-natured guy. Alright, attorney, how do they contact you? Baka meron ka pang nais idagdag? May mga shoutouts? Go right ahead, please, attorney.
No, shout out lang. Naalala ko Lori because Lori's a good friend of mine and Ayla, isa sa mga best friend namin. She had her wedding last week last week and nagkita yung mga college friends namin. I just want to say hello to Lori and Ayla. Namimiss ko sila. Early days ko sa UK, magkakasama po kami the first year in the UK. So that's a blast from the past. And may mga yung aking inaanak na si LJ. So Yes, that's and thank you as always sa lahat ng mga sumusubaybay, sa lahat ng nakiki-social remote bubble at nakiki-Happy Tuesday. Edgardo Cagastian, happy birthday again. Direk Pao, thank you as always. Alam niyo po, ang napakasipag, napaka-efficient at napakagaling talaga mag-organize ng Direk Pao namin. So we love Direk Pao, and Mr. Laragan, sa nakaka-inspire niyong health journey, nako, ewan ko na lang ba. Pinagmamalaki talaga kita parati, Mr. Laragan. No? Kailangan mag-umpisa ka na ng health advice corner dahil kailangan ng evidensya.
Pag nawala na yun, yung aking abdominal fat, yes. Pag totally clear na, then I could tell about the journey and perhaps it could help. Kasi if truly successful and I reach that stage, no, I can advise people kasi it can reverse a lot of things. It can reverse yung type 2 diabetes ninyo. It could also reverse yung hypertension ninyo. I was able to reverse my hypertension. I used to take medication, no? So ngayon, awa na Diyos, hindi na. Yeah, oo. At saka yung mga inflammation, any part of your body is an inflammation, be it cancer, be it almoranas, be it anything. And doable yun. Si Direk Pao nga ngayon, nakabelt na eh. Dahil, kasi nagtitipid siya, yung kanyang pantalon na for siguro 5 years niya nasuot, nahuhulog na, lumuwag na. So, kailangan para hindi lumuwag yun, mahulog yun, nakabelt na siya ngayon. Dahil nahuhulog daw yung pantalon niya eh. So, kaya inspiring din si Pao. Marami nagme-message sa akin asking for ano nga ba sikreto, ano ginawa ko, no? So, tignan lang natin, no? So, I'm gonna come out soon. Kung okay na, basta medyo maklear ko lang yung aking abdominal fat. Abdominal fat. Pero ikaw, nainggit ako sa'yo with the exercises you're doing and with the kettlebells na sinasabi mo. Bells. Kettlebells. May nakita ko show sa meron isang series about, I forgot the title of the series. So this guy, yung boyfriend yata, hindi husband eh. So he's into bodybuilding. So what he did was, because he will be away for a few days for the shoot, no, they will have to stay over. Nagdala siya ng kettlebells. So that's siya nag-exercise, kettlebells.
Naririnig ko yan, yung talagang mga hardcore, talagang hindi pwede one night wala. That's good. I am respect sa disiplina. Respeto. Yung mga fitness journey natin, it's very inspiring na, and I think it's because the weather's nicer. Mas madaling maging healthy kapag mainit. Mas madaling So it'll be an interesting summer. We'll make the most out of it dahil ito ata ang unang summer na maluwag tayong lahat in terms of travel, in terms of COVID. So may excitement yes. Balik na tayo ulit sa hindi naman ganun ka fully, but as close as we can be.
Tama ka. Well, summertime. Ito itong suot ko, attorney. If you saw this damit ko for many months ago, masikip sa akin to eh. Na parang bursting at the seams. Ika nga talagang no. Pero ngayon, kita mo, bumaba na yung kanyang shoulder. Bumaba na. Ayoko namang i-dispatch siya. Sayang din eh. So, diba? So, I'm not buying clothes kasi when I started, from 34, nag-32 ako. So, I bought some pants. Mamaya, nasa 30 na ako. I bought some pants. Nasasayang eh. So, ngayon, nasa 28 na ako ngayon, officially. Baka nga mag-27 pa eh. Ano yung attorney?
Baka mag-26 ka ha.
Hindi ko alam. Yung isip ko nga, dahil baka kung mawala yung gusto ko pa na i-lose na 10 pounds, siguro mga 5-6 kilograms, baka nga magnipis pa ako ng konti, baka mag-27 or 26 nga. Iniisip, baka tinitignan ko. Pero gusto ko na yung 28. Parang ayoko na masyadong
Perfect yung 28.
Hopefully 28. Ganun. So 28. And looking forward to us going out one of these days, summertime, no? Good. I-research ko na yung Santiago de Compostela, yung Buen Camino, yung Camino de Santiago, no?
Camino de Santiago.
Yung bang The Way na palabas ni Martin Sheen, nasa Netflix ba yan? Or saan ba makita yan?
Nakita ko ata dati sa Netflix, so I'm not sure kung andun pa rin siya. But it's
The Way is the
sure
title. The Way by Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen, yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright. Sige, well, na-intriga ako ngayon. Yun ang nag-stick sa mind ko. Teka muna.
Medyo
hanapin ko.
malungkot po yun. Ano, medyo malungkot pero very inspirational yung journey. Hindi siya malungkot all throughout. Malungkot yung start niya, tapos inspirational and masaya yung ending.
Yung movie na Bruges, B-R-U-G-E-S, may pelikula na yun Napanood mo ba yun?
Hindi pa po.
There's a place sa Bruges, pero pagka pinanood mo rin, well, in a way, some parts of it, yung pinaka-tower, no? Pero, Bruges, ayaw ko ba? B-U-R-G-G-E-S pa? O B-R-U-G-E-S sa Belgium?
Yeah.
Oh, sa Bruges. Punta ako rin. Pero, it's not a place that you will have to spend 2 or 3 nights. One night lang, okay na. It's a small town.
Tapos na.
Nag-book kasi ako ng hotel noong araw doon. 2 days, 3 days, 2 nights and 3 days. Sus Marioso, 1 day pala, parang gusto ko na umalis. Sabi ko, ayoko na rito. But anyway, kasi you were talking of a film, kaya ako lang in-associate doon. Because the way, I'll be intrigued na ako. Intrigued na parang hanapin ko. I'll be looking for it.
Yes.
So, hanapin natin. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Well, as always, we want to thank you, Attorney, for the education, the company that you give us, the ever-smiling, bubbly, talagang masaya na. And whenever they see you, it gives them parang, wow, saya na naman, no? They look forward to it, no? So, ganun din ako. And I'm so glad na seeing you, no? Every week, no? Every time na meron tayong, ganito, because it's seeing you again and then additional knowledge, dagdag kaalaman, no? Sabi nga nila, dagdag kaalaman. Okay, well, time na namin magpaalam. So sa ngalan ng ating pinaka-host, yung ating kaalaman dito. Ano to, direct? Nga pala, sorry, may sorry, nga pala. Meron. Sorry. Hindi kasi mag-MC ako. Ako MC nito eh.
Ayun.
Barney Fest sa Derby. Bye. Sorry So, buti direct na pa. Ito Filipino Derby and Derbyshire Community, meron silang Barrio Fiesta sa July, July 30th, Saturday yan, 9 to 6 p.m. Ayan, sa Derby. Andyan ako. Ako ang magiging MC riyan sa show na yan. Kaya't kung gusto niyo magkita-kita, papalitan na namin yung picture niya. Ito, maganda na yung buhok ko. So, wala pa akong buhok dyan, no? So, ayan. We'll see each other dyan and magkakakitaan tayo. Teka muna, kailan ang biyahe mo sa Santiago de Compostela?
15th of July po ata. So that's 15. Tingnan ko Friday yun I think it is 15th of July. So
okay.
yeah.
So you're gonna be here more or less end of the month.
Andito po ako. 1 week lang po ako and I'll do a live again from
oh yes.
I'll do the same.
Santiago, to give us ideas.
So I won't miss. I'll report. I probably won't talk about law. I'll probably just talk about the community.
Yeah, and then wherever you are. Kasi tama because it's our you're looking forward to that, no? Santiago de Compostela, you're there right in the heart of it, di ba?
It will be my last. It will be the night before the last walk. So yun ang kumbaga yun yung last night before I walk to Santiago. It's a church, Santiago de Compostela.
7-day walking or 6-day walking gagawin mo?
5 days.
5 days na walking.
5 days, 1 day each of traveling. So 1 day na travel.
So in each part na paano yun? So are you gonna be in sa mga hostels? Or are you gonna be having a hotel or paano na programa? Yeah. Okay na ba yung yung
okay na po.
Okay, itinerary mo?
Yeah, most days it'll be like an inn or a pension house so on my own. But I booked a couple of nights na may hostels just to have yun ang original na Camino. So I want to be part of it for a couple of days, but kailangan ko matulog. So I don't wanna do it over. Gusto ko lang tikman and I wanna have at least 2 days and to meet
good.
you.
Parang nakakaingit din yan, no?
na
Sige.
andun ka, it's called albergue instead of hostels. It's albergue yung albergue, tama ata pronunciation ko. Yun ang original na authentic experience and wanna have that. So a couple of nights, pero yun na yung,
Oh,
yun yung maximum ko.
Nice. Oo.
Pension houses and
Okay.
hotels. So, yeah.
Malapit siguro sa Rioja yan. Yung wine, Rioja, diba? The British would call it Rioja. They have a different, they pronounce it parang C yung J eh. Kamukha na kunyari, for example, Torrevieja. Ang pronunciation ng mga British is Torrevieja.
Yeah.
So, yung Rioja, ang basa nila. Di ba yung mga wine dito, di ba Rioja? Check lang natin kung malapit-lapit na yan. Oh.
I'll tell you na I think yung original, yung 800 kilometers, I think by day 5 noon or within the first week, may madadaanan ka. This is very well known sa Camino de Santiago. May madadaanan ka na parang monastery na nagbibigay ng libreng tubig at libreng red wine.
Wow. Hindi kasi talaga sa Spain, parang ano yan eh, parang ang red wine, parang lang ano yan eh, parang very common.
Very
Galing
common.
nila.
So yeah, may ano lang
Oo.
sila, may parang like a little faucet there. And it's very well known amongst pilgrims. So
Wow,
pilgrims
galing.
Wow,
Wow, galing.
Fill your water bottle with red wine tsaka tubig. Yung
Wow.
kabila tubig, nila red wine. And it's free. It's free for everyone.
Galing. Naku,
but
ni-research ko na, na-intriga ako ha. Kami nila Oliver Fernandez and all of those guys watching right now. I'll be researching that because eventually, if in the event that diba, pareho tayo nagpunta ng Greece. So there's so many things to do in Greece pa. Pero we will go back in future, no? Para for additional mga trips. Pero Gina, di ba? So yung mga pistachio, kinakain ko pa yung pistachio na paste na pero pa ako wine na pistachio, hindi pa namin naiinom, inumin na namin O yung parang liquor something.
Liquor. Pareho pa yung binilhan natin, di ba? Naalala
Oh,
niyo?
yung babae na yun. Binila natin.
Oh, she's so nice.
She's so nice. She's so nice.
nice.
Sabi nga, hindi ka obligadong bumili. Papakainin,
Ayaw
papatikman
niya,
ka lang.
sabi niya, bayaw ito. Tikman mo lang.
Tikman mo lang. Tikman mo lang.
Wala siyang pakialam kung hindi ko. Masaya na siya. Naramdaman ko talaga. Masaya na siya. Natikman mo yung binibenta niya. I really felt that.
We bought from her. We bought siguro, I don't know, 50 euros worth of or 60. Marami kami binili doon sa kanya. So, yeah. Oy, thank you very much, attorney, ha? So, sa ngalan ho ni attorney Danna Quinto, sa ngalan ho ng ating direktor si Pao Perez, no? Yung ating si Direk, na laging nakabelt na ngayon. Ito po si Sonny Laragan nagsasabi, thank you very much sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay sa Legal Advice Corner. Let's do it again next Tuesday. So till then, take care, God bless, and good night. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Mula sa kabisera ng Inglaterra, sa puso ng Britanya, London, UK. Ito ang Channel Philippines Network. Pinoy Radio UK. Sumasayang papawid 24 oras. Buong linggo sa www.pinoyradiouk.com. Ang mga pinakapaborito mga awitin, mga pinakaabangang programa, at mga sariwang balita at impormasyon mula at para sa mga kababayang Pilipino sa UK at sa buong mundo. Pinoy Radio UK.